Hello, my inkies. I hope you are doing well. This is almost a comical video. It's another episode in the Hoarder series. What started out as an organizational bookcase video where I can show you my books and show you a revamp and all that good stuff and high hopes and big dreams slowly come crashing down, and it becomes a friggin' tornado of doom. So over the next few minutes, you are going to see not a finished video, but a work in progress video. I decided that my studio was working against me, and it didn't feel quite right, and it didn't feel, I don't know, there was something going on with my studio that was just irking me, and it was starting to really annoy me. So I thought maybe if I just organize my bookcase, it'll make me feel a little bit better. Add my new books in, sort them by categories, you know, what we do, thinking that that's gonna be a quick fix. And so I decided to do that on a Friday afternoon, after school. Just before school actually, just before school pickup, because you know, what better way to spend the last 40 minutes before the school bell goes than organizing my bookshelf. So I decided to start and embark, and I'm going to show you clips throughout of what I decided to do or what I thought was a good idea. And before I know it, my entire studio is in rack and ruin. There is stuff everywhere on the floor, things falling. It was just a complete catastrophe. And my poor husband comes home Friday night to his wife sitting on the floor, sobbing her heart out because she broke her studio. And so my hubby decides to help the way that he does, and he could see all my anxiety triggers just going off like fireworks, bang, 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 bang. He can see my lip quivering. He can see my hands wringing out like I do when I'm stressed. He can see all the triggers just going off one by one. So my very methodical, very calm husband takes control of the situation and says, Bambi, find your measuring tape. We're going to measure all your furniture. And so I did. We found the measuring tape. We measured every single piece of furniture in the room, as well as the entire room. And then he made me sit down with him as he drew out every piece of furniture on grid paper. And then he sat me down and said, this is your studio. Let's work out what is going on and why you've decided to suddenly turn everything upside down. And so we did, and that is what we did. And by then I had controlled my crying enough to sit quietly and watch him rule all the bits of furniture, and then I cut them out. And then we stood there trying to work out the best way the furniture should go. Now, as you guys know, I'm left-handed. And in my other house, my desk was flipped around the other way so that my bookshelves were to my left and my desk spread out that from left to right. In this house, and I didn't even think it was a problem or a big deal or anything like that, my bookshelf part of my desk was flipped, so it was to my right. And I didn't realize until Friday night that that really annoyed me. I felt like all my things couldn't be reached, even though I had my drawers next to it and things like that. It just didn't work, and it was stuffing me around. I didn't realize it was that simple aspect of my desk being flipped to the right that really put the entire feel of my studio off. I only have one PowerPoint in my studio, so that also plays a massive part. I had cords running across my room to my printer table. My hard drive was plugged in across the room because I had a huge power board across the room. I would continuously trip on it, continuously yank things out of its power sockets. It was just a complete mess. And what went from a organizational bookcase video has turned into something a little different. So I'm going to show you bits and pieces as well as doing a voiceover. As you can see in the state of my beautiful backdrop here, it's not over. I thought I would be done before Wednesday. Oh no, it's not even close to being over. There is still crap everywhere, and I mean everywhere, and you're going to see the crap everywhere. And it's not just a little bit of crap. I'm not one of those people that make a big deal out of nothing. There is crap everywhere, people. So if you think that my studio is Pinterest worthy, you are going to be very, very shocked at the footage you are going to see. In the end, we actually purchased another Kallax from IKEA with drawers and doors to become a working cupboard where all my ugly stuff goes that needs to be in here but doesn't need to be on show. I also have a little step piece of furniture that you'll see that's in an L shape, and I thought it was going to work. It's now being emptied and removed from the studio, and it will go into Boo's room as her toy organizer. I also bought an addition to my supply drawers that sits on top to extend my space, and you'll see what happens with that. Even though this video doesn't have a completion yet because I couldn't make miracles happen, you will see a progression, and you'll see bits and pieces and snapshots and just a little bit of everything. So I hope you understand that there is no completion yet. Believe me, the last of the studio cleanup will get filmed as well. But it's just because I made such a mess and I made such a whirlwind of doom, it is taking me a long time to put all the pieces back together. And because I think that this is a really good time to purge, to really organize, to really look at my things and really make a big effort to make my studio work for me, not against me. I'm a firm believer that your space is a representation of your mind. And when you watched my inspiration video, I felt like I was all over the place. The day that inspiration video went up on the Saturday was the day that I filmed it on the Friday was the day that I started tidying. Now, I felt so out of character, so all over the place in that video, and I still feel that to this day, even though you lovely ladies were so lovely about the entire thing and it inspired you and everything. I felt like a train wreck, and I think it is because my studio was finally knocking me down. And I felt chaos in my studio, so I felt chaos in my mind. And that is the way it is always with me. If my home doesn't feel right, it completely affects my state of mind, how I think, how I feel. And because I am a sufferer of depression and anxiety, and I don't medicate, I fight it with art and food and color and all those types of things. Things like this can completely whitewash me. And so when my hubby came home on Friday night to me sobbing in the middle of what looked like a tornado had ripped through my studio, he knew it was time to act. And again, that man has come in with his sticky tape and put me back together. And I hope this video is slightly comical in the way it was filmed, because I feel like it's a bit of a Blair Witch Project moment, but you'll see what I mean. And I hope you enjoy the rest of this video, and I hope this inspires you to recreate your creative space. If it's not working for you, I think making a sacred space for your creating is a big deal. And even though mine's taking a hell of a lot longer than I expected, I know that when it's done, I can feel that lump in the back of my throat go away, and I can feel my shoulders drop, because at the moment my shoulder is absolutely wrecked, and I think that's because I'm tense about the fact that my studio is in absolute dire chaos. So enjoy the rest of the video. You will hear some stupid stuff, and don't judge me, it will be tidied up, and this might make you feel a little bit better about your creative space. I bloody hope so. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. So this is about the time when I thought that this was going to be an organizational book video, and I'm like, yes, let's do lovely shots of the bookcase and how crazy and messy it is, but it will be beautiful in the next 5 or so minutes of video. Oh man, was I wrong. So basically what I did was I grabbed all the things off the bookshelf, mainly the books, and started putting them into piles. This is when I laid them all out on the table and tried to put them into categories, because essentially I want my bookshelf to be in categories: journaling books, lettering books, inspiration books, all that sort of thing. So this is me working out basically what categories I want these books to go in. This is about the time when I decide that I'm going to tackle my journals as well, and it goes downhill from here. And I have quite a few journals, and a lot of them don't need to be on display. So I decide to start pulling them out as well, and it's about that moment when I go, oh my goodness. What have I done? So I try and roll with it. I go, yeah, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be amazing. And this is on Friday, so I'm showing you a couple of my innards of my older style journals from high school and when I was an emo teenager and a little bit of a goth. So I decide, yeah, I'm gonna start pulling them out and just hope for the best. This is my very first journal that my Nana gave me. She's now sadly passed on, but I always smile when I remember that journal. So here is my secret shame pile of journals that I like to collect and hoard and actually haven't used. I know you all have these piles, so I know I'm in good company, but these are just journals that I collect. This really is an episode of Hoarders. No joke. I'm for real this time. Look at me. Look at the mess. Look at the mess. Look at me. Look at the mess. Everywhere I look, there's mess. There's just no escaping it. I'm never getting out of here. So I try work on my desk, since that's where I film. If I could get my desk clean, I could film some videos. So I put on a vlog and just start sorting. And I try my best to get it all sorted. But as you saw, it's not sorted. We actually moved my desk completely off the wall it originally was and put it across the back door, but still so I could actually get to the back door. It means that I'm facing the outside world and my bookshelf is to my left and
and because I'm left-handed, it just feels so much better. Easy thing to do when you're cleaning your desk. It's just procrastination and discoveries of cool things that you thought you'd lost. A drawing from Lily, some stickers, some wedding photos. It's all the fun things you think have gone. So I decided that my Midori inserts didn't need to be on display. They're all empty, they're just pretty notebooks, and so I decided to put them into a pull-out thing and put them into one of the holes in my bookshelf. So it's time to pack these beauties away, and I have more than enough, and it actually filled the entire thing. I also added in my passport and my personal inserts because there was no other place for them to go, and I like them to be all together. This was then slid into my working bookshelf, and they still look pretty, but they're a lot more organized and a lot easier to see and find than they were before. Then I put in some of my A5 notebooks, the Stalogy, the 7Cs, so they fit cutely right next door. So this is notebooks that need to be filled shelf, all together and all organized. To maximize my supply drawers, I got a PAL, which was an add-on from IKEA, and I decided that I would use it to put some of my newer supplies that didn't have any room for. I didn't have homes for them, so my PH Martin watercolors are being lined up in rainbow formation. So then I decided to put some of my pen pots that aren't used on a daily at the back but are still accessible. On the top of the PAL are these alcoves, so I used some of my bigger pen pots up the top, still easy to get to and great space savers for the top of the drawers. Then in the tiny little bits, I put my Schminker palette and will also put my favorite Daniel Smith palette. They are the two most used ones, so I wanted them to have their own spot. Then on the actual drawers, I have put my Prismacolors, my mild liners, and my Zig markers. Then I put my clean jar of water and my dirty water for my watercolors. They will stay there and be moved on and off my desk when they're in use, which means they won't be near my computer and they won't get knocked over. I also added my mixing palette next to it as well. And of course my crocheted watercolor cloth, which needs a clean. My mixing palette tray is huge and needed to be out of the way, so behind the pen pots it went for a perfect spot.
It's Tuesday morning. If I don't make it out alive, I died in my studio. I don't know what I've done. Send help.
Now we are working on my workhorse cupboard, and I'm popping in all the random odds and ends that had found its way onto my reading bookshelf that shouldn't be there. This one's filled with coloured cardstock, laminating sheets, photo paper, you name it. And this is what it looks like in the end. It's got my bookbinding stuff, my selfie printer paper. It's full, but it's gonna get used. Next, we're going to go to the stuff that's been stored in the garage because I had no room for it. So all my mediums, my sprays, my fixatives, you name it, this is the cupboard that's going to hold it all. As you can see, this is the reason why I decided to put cupboard doors on my Kallax bookshelf, because this stuff is ugly and I don't want to see it, but it's a necessary medium in our line of work. So that is why it's in here. And yeah, some of those paints you haven't seen hold yet. So they are the Dilutions paints. And yes, they will get hold very soon. And of course it wouldn't be my bookshelf without a token bottle of neon pink paint. So these are the two sets of 2 drawers. So there are 4 drawers in total, and this drawer that you are seeing is being filled with my ancient sprays. I have Lindy stamp gun sprays that I've had since before Boo was born, also some Ranger Adirondack sprays. These have been in the garage because I literally had nowhere to put them, and because they're so old and they've been used to death, they aren't that pretty to look at. So I decided that they needed a home in my studio where I would actually use them. But because they're like a little bit hunchbacky of Notre Dame, they needed to be hid away. Speaking of lost items, these are the lost stamps that have no home, have no purpose, that have been sitting out in the garage for forever. And some of these are darkroom door stamps, some of these are Alice in Wonderland stamps. They are so random in nature, but it is time that they found a home in the drawers of my workhorse cupboard. So I'm just popping them all in there and trying to find a way that they fit, as well as the drawer closing. We are coming to the close of this video, and as you can see, I'm nowhere near done, but I hope you understand that this is a work in progress. It is a major shift for my studio, and one that I didn't think I was going to survive. I still don't feel like I'm going to survive, but I just wanted to give you an idea that changing your creative space is daunting and crazy and overwhelming and ridden with anxiety, but I know that when it is done and I give you the full tour, which that video will be up for you guys, you will see a huge transformation, and one that I hope will change the way I feel about my studio, and it will be a safe place instead of one that stresses me out. So I'm going to leave you now, and I hope you enjoyed this portion of my crazy whirlwind video. And I will see you on Saturday, hopefully with a continuation of this video. If not, it'll be a journal with me. And here's my favorite little corner of my desk with my paintbrushes, my pens, and my washi. And if you wait just a second, you will see the beautiful display of leather that I have above my head, all my pretty little notebooks. And I will see you next Saturday for another video. Bye! He's a dork and I love him.